I'm back up the hill again to process a bit of wood, but this could be a bit of a momentous day for me, because this could be the day that I've made it all the way to the top and there's no more that I can personally do with my own chainsaw. After today, I'll be starting from the bottom again. As you can see, our back fence line is there, and if I take a quick stroll up the hill round the corner, you can see our back fire break. Last time I was up here, I was working on this section here, quite close to the fire break, and I'll now be working a bit more down the hill, stopping at the centre path. Well, it took about twice as long as normal, and I did have to nip back down and put a new chain on, which definitely does help with the efficiency. However, that is done. I reached the top, and so as of whenever, I get to go down to the bottom, as I say, and start all over again. But this time on the trees that are mostly but not quite dead, so I'll be closer to the house at least. Will and I are currently outside the skin cancer clinic where we go for our annual skin cancer checkups. We've actually had our appointments and I'm waiting for Will to go and pay for his. He's had to do some updating of his records. Anyway, so it's something that we like to do, especially since we have moved from Scotland to Australia, where it's usually sunnier and warmer and you're usually more exposed to the sun. And so we think that it's a good thing to do. And we've done it every year since we've lived here, more or less. And so just to say, it's something that we like to do, something that we think is a good thing to do, and it's all good. So Will and I aren't about to die of skin cancer anytime too soon. Here we go again. I enjoyed it so much when I came out on Sunday. I'm off to run up the hill again. It's not very far, but it is uphill and we are at altitude. I have a goal of running from where I park up to the local sign for the borough, the district that we're in, and I almost got there. I had to walk one stretch in between two of the road markers. So we'll see how I go today. In an ideal world, I'd like to run the whole thing, and then once I can confidently and comfortably do that, I'll start maybe extending it incrementally, maybe by like one road marker each time I come out. I'm not a believer in making swift gains. I like to do things slowly. So we'll see how that goes. It's a lovely day. The roads around here are always very quiet, but I always wear my high vis because I just think that's prudent. Oh yeah, and I do like to drive up to where I start because our drive is very, very steep and it's very gravelly. And in the space of not very long amount of time, I've dislocated the knee on one leg and had a very, very bad sprain on the ankle of the other leg. I think it might even be the same leg. So anyway, I'm paranoid about running or even walking down the drive and slipping. It can happen, it does happen. Will's done it before. So I'm like, I'm going to drive up to the road and just run on the bitumen, and hopefully I'll be a bit safer. But that doesn't mean I have to come up in my car. But luckily, these leggings that I wear have got a lot of pockets. So I'm going to put you in one pocket and I'm going to put my car key in the other pocket. And I don't need to worry about leaving my car unlocked or having to hide the key somewhere obscure. Anyway, I'm off. I'll catch up with you at some point. I made it without stopping. And now I'm heading back to the car. here we are then. I am back at the beginning, as mentioned. So I've worked my way all the way up to the top, and now this is the first path which runs parallel to the house, so this is my starting point. I probably will go down the trees here and a bit of the trees that are closer to the house, but it would be easier for me to do that when I've got a little bit more time on my hands, because that's going to be a lot more sort of working my way tree by tree, whereas by starting here today I can just work what I call my quadrants and take out quite a lot of trees in a one without having to walk up the hill too much or move the car around. I am starting, as I said, on the mostly dead trees, so it'll be things like this, these weedy trees which aren't really going to come to much, and that'll create more space for the other trees to get nice and big and let more light onto the forest floor. And as I say, by the time we get to burning these, they'll be nice and seasoned. So this is my starting point for today. Will's off on his morning walk. Anyway, I thought I'd update you. So this was really good fun. It's actually so much more pleasant to be able to process wood, which you can then walk along a path rather than over a litter-strewn forest floor. I've filled up my load and I've collected some second kindling, which has been processing. This was really good, as I say. Like, it's literally been years since I started here and made my way all the way to the top. And in the intervening period, quite a few of the quite dead trees did actually die, or the ones that were almost dead were more dead, if not totally dead, so that was good. And just to put it into context, I filled about 10 trees, and this is the sum total of all the leaves which came off of those 10 trees, which I don't know if it's coming across, is a very, very modest pile of leaves. Like on a healthy tree, you'd probably expect 4 times that, let alone off of 10 trees. I'm going to load this into the car, take it down to the bonfire, and then begin stage 2, which is chopping the wood up into burnable lengths and stacking it. Anyway, it's been a very pleasant morning's work. In this parcel here, I have the third of my apple trees to go into the old orchard. This is to complete the set of 3 that I need for them all to pollinate, on the back of Will getting me that Bramley apple for Christmas. So let's unwrap the parcel and see what we're looking at. Here we go. So this is my Egremont russet, which is probably the most common type of russet you're likely to see, and russet really does seem to mostly refer to the type of skin it's got, but anyway, as you can see, this is a dwarfing variety, so it's on a dwarf rootstock, so left to its own devices it'll get to about apparently 2.5 meters max, so that's quite nice. And I'm very, very pleased to see how lovely and healthy it's looking. Considering that this has come to me from Tasmania. Here's presumably the graft onto the dwarfing rootstock. So what I'm going to do now is, without further delay, choose a spot and plant it out. The cage is admittedly slightly disproportionate to the size of the tree, but I've just taken one of the rolls, one of the bales that we were storing over there, and I just thought it would be simpler for me just to create a massive cage and be done with it. In fact, depending on how it goes, I may swap the cages over from these 2 trees, but I didn't want to do that today because it remains to be seen how well they're going to do. But anyway, it's planted, it's got its cage, it's watered in. This is how it looks in the context of the orchard now. As it's a dwarfing tree, it's going to be fine. This proximity to the existing apple, it should look quite nice. I like the sort of somewhat haphazardy way the trees have been planted. What I didn't want was to have the impression of rows of trees. So fingers crossed. It should be happy here. It's actually quite nice soil in this orchard. The soil here had been improved over time, so whilst it's still sitting on clay, the soil above it is nicer and the clay is a little bit more friable than on other parts of the property where I've been planting trees. I will keep you updated, but fingers crossed for my latest acquisition, my Egremont russet dwarfing tree.